what's up? This is amyx, and today I'm hanging out in Las Colinas with my good friend Greg over here at Gondola Adventures. If you want to check it out, go to gondola.com, and if you're ever in Las Colinas, go hit it up, man. Get on the gondola, check out Las Colinas from the water instead of just being on the land. In today's episode, I want to talk about this idea of perfectionism because, see, I grew up thinking that I needed to be perfect. I grew up where my father was like push and push and push and push, which I am so grateful for because it made me be really, really good at everything I did. When I was in high school, I graduated top of my class. When I went to college, graduated summa cum laude, top of my class, finished in 4 years, in, out, done, right? When I went on to the advertising agency, got to work with entertainers and with different sports industries, and then when I decided I wanted a music career, I worked really, 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 really hard, and I got to tour with some of the biggest bands in the industry like Seventh Day Slumber and Luminate and The Wedding and Showbread and all of those guys, and it was a lot of fun. But during all of this, one of the things that I've learned as I continue to study other people who are out freaking crushing it, what I understand is they have this common theme, and this common theme is them being their best selves. So I want you to think, today, if you did not have to worry about what your mother would think, or what your father would think, or what your pastor would think, or what your spiritual leader would think, what would you be doing today? What would your passion, what would drive you to get up of the bed in the morning and be like, I'm going to take this day by storm, let's get this stuff done? What would that look like to you? At the same time, be thinking, how can you be your best self? Because if we buy into this idea that our Western culture feeds us, which is this idea of perfectionism, where we're comparing ourselves to this person, we're comparing ourselves to this person in our industry, then we're looking for external approval. And I struggled with this for like freaking years, by the way, saying like, well, this person's doing it this way, so let me model this, let me be like this. But at the end of the day, I still wasn't happy because I'm always pushing and pushing and pushing. I remember coming home one day to a girl I was dating, and she asked me, AJ, when is enough enough? And my answer at that time was, I don't know. I don't know when enough is enough. Because I didn't know what it meant to look within myself and ask myself, how can I be my best self? So today, in today's episode, we're going to meet a good friend of mine, Emily Williams, who is crushing it in the model and actress world. And you're going to meet a good friend of mine named Moses Uver, who's a hip-hop artist here in Dallas, who's killing it. And these two people have figured out how to be their best selves. And since they committed to being their best selves, they get to live their passion every day and get paid to do so. So let's go meet Emily. Okay, so here we are with my good friend, my best friend, and pretty much my other sister, Emily Williams. And Emily is this actress and model, but you wouldn't really ever know that she's this actress and model because, like, you're so freaking humble. And here we are in a little town in East Texas, and you spend all this time with your family and your husband. So let me know, like, what you got going on, you know, in your life and, you know, with your husband and your career.
Well, my work, I travel back and forth to Dallas mostly, but I'm represented all over the state, so I travel, fly out quite frequently. But yeah, I mean, I model and act, and it's fun and awesome, but I also have a really balanced life here where I work on cars and garden and play with my family and everything like that, so it's great. I wouldn't change a thing.
And I think just the other day, somebody on Instagram like picked up you working on Roxy, your GTO or something. It was like Lady Mechanic or something like that. That Aaron took a picture and he's like, are you working, rebuilding the heads on your GTO or something?
Yeah, we were taking them off, taking the heads off.
Awesome. So in between like rebuilding Roxy and pulling heads off of cars and spending time with family and friends, you have like this career, like pretty much where you're, you know, shooting short films, you're modeling for JCPenney's, you're flying to LA to do shoots, you know, you had a Taco Bueno commercial, you have something with this insurance agency, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, about 3 years ago, I kind of merged into the acting stuff, and I've done a handful of commercials. A couple of them are airing right now, and like you said, I've been doing a couple of short films, and that's been really fun and exciting. It's an easy transition from modeling to acting for me because I look at modeling as acting. So yeah, it's been really fun. It's an exciting adventure. Nice, nice. So how did you go from this place? Because you started like when you were 14, right? Yeah. So how'd you go from this place of starting when you're 14? Everybody has this dream of wanting to be an actor or an actress or a model or something to do within the entertainment industry, of course. So how did you go from this place of being 14 to being at where you're at now, just pretty much crushing it with modeling and flying out pretty much 2 or 3 times a week? I mean, what happened? What went on to go from
regular Emily to now regular Emily, but on a different level?
Well, I would say a lot of persistence. It's been many years. It's been 13 years that I've been at this industry, and persistence in keeping my enthusiasm about it all, keeping my excitement level up and excited and holding my vision for myself in the industry, and continuing to be me in the industry, which is really important personally for me. Because the industry can really begin to define you instead of you coming into the industry and being yourself. So that's just been really important to me. So just being persistent, I would say.
And so how important has the support from your husband and your family been? Because it has taken a while of persisting. And I know like times even in my career where you come up like you feel like you're against a brick wall and you don't have like, can't see any like light, right? And so like having the support and sounding board has been totally really important. I mean, you've been totally crucial in my life for that. So how's that helped you kind of in your life?
Yeah, well, mental support, financial support, physical support. I put a lot of money into my career in the early years. And so, yeah, just having them be there for me and lifting me up. Nobody likes to hear no, but especially in this industry, you hear it a lot. So just having really supportive, loving people to come home to and remind you how wonderful you are really, really helps. Yeah. And I value it tremendously.
Yeah, and people think that, it's like this overnight success. Share kind of your viewpoint on overnight successes.
Well, I wouldn't, from my experience, the overnighters don't last very long. They kind of fizzle out quickly, it seems. I've put a lot of time in, and I feel like that my career has really sustained, and it will sustain. I've reached out to lots of agencies, so I have representation all over the world, and I feel like that's really going to serve me, and it has served me in my industry, which I think is kind of across the board. If you spread yourself out and you can, be versatile and ready to roll with anything, then you'll be busy and you'll be satisfied and fulfilled.
So what have you, I know you sacrificed stuff to get to like the level that you're experiencing right now. I mean, you do have this very amazing balanced lifestyle, which is mandatory, and you commit to, doing certain things to keep balance, which is really important. Yeah. But at the end of the day, people think, oh, it's easy peasy, pie in the sky. Right. So like, what have you had to sacrifice to get to this place?
Well, yeah, most of my sacrifices have been kind of emotional because of the way that I perceived this industry to be. I see it to be really materialistic and braggy almost. Yeah. And for years I would not like to talk about it, because when people would say, "What do you do?" I'd be like, I'm in marketing, or I like sell clothes and kind of in the fashion industry a little bit." And I would just kind of like try and avoid actually saying I'm a model and actress. And so I really kind of had to let that go and just be like, own it, be excited about it, and don't worry about their judgments, because I have judgments about it. Of course. And so I always apply those to other people. I assume that they have them as well. Yeah. But other than that, it's just time. This industry takes a lot of time, and there's a lot of travel involved, and leaving my family for, weeks out of the month. That's hard and can be really tricky, so it challenges me to be able to sustain relationships from a distance, or there's areas that are difficult, but it's all worth it and amazing.
So how has like your faith played a role? Because I know your dad's a pastor at United Methodist Church. So how has your faith played a role in helping you kind of deal with the challenges?
Well, I think it creates a foundation. It's a basis of self-love and realizing that love is really divine, and nothing can break that. As long as I resort back to that, I have courage for the next day, and I can go and I can be me, and I can be strong and powerful in that, and I feel like that comes from that source of love and that godly energy that I can carry forth into my work and into my whole life.
I love it. It's fantastic. So cool. Dude, this is so much fun. I love just hanging out like we always do and just talking about your career and what you have going on, So how do you deal with like this idea of being the perfect model, the perfect actress? Because, you know, we're conditioned, especially here in the Western culture, that we have to fit this, and we always compare ourselves like, well, this person's doing it this way, so I should do it this way, or I should take this action so people will think of me in this manner. But when we do that, we're pretty much crippling ourselves.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with just being the best Emily and committing to being the best Emily and not the best Giselle or the best Heidi Klum or anybody else in your industry, just the best Emily?
Well, I have struggled with that because in my research of the industry, I've come upon the things that work. They're the things that have been proven that they work, you know? And so it's hard to apply that to me because every person's different. So realizing that there is a market for the Giselle and there's a market for the Heidi, but there's also a market for the Emily.
Exactly.
And I can go in and sell myself that way and be confident in my product, which is me. And I know that, you know, they may take it or leave it, but I can't be everyone. I have to be me. So really owning that, you know, sometimes I'll go in and they'll say, well, we were looking through this, but we really like you. We really like your energy. We really like the way you sell, you know, our product. So, you know, we're considering changing our, you know, our go-bys for this. So, I mean, just being confident and being yourself is really a powerful sort of place to be.
Awesome.
I feel like.
So what advice would you have for our listeners today on, you know, if they want to achieve their dreams, go after their passions, what advice would you give them to go do that?
I would say tap into that core belief system that you are amazing and powerful, and keep that courage up and keep that power where you can go through and hear a no, and it's okay. Because there are so many yeses out there. There are so many yeses out there to be had, and just going through and knowing that it's all going to work out, but it's going to be hard work, and you're going to have to be persistent and enthusiastic.
Exactly. So guys, there you have it. I mean, Emily just gave you the framework. If you want to go out and freaking crush it with something that you love, number one, you have to be true to yourself. And don't worry about what your mother or your father or your auntie or your uncle or your spiritual leader wants you to be, but rather, who do you want to be, and hold to that vision that you want to be. And secondly, you have to persist and commit to taking daily action and have a support group and be able and willing to share your struggles and your successes so people can support you. And Emily, I thank you so much for joining us, and, you know, just continue to be an inspiration and living your passion as much as I do. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
Okay, so here we are in Dallas, Texas, and we're headed to the studio to meet up with my good friend Moses Uvier. Moses is this crazy, awesome hip-hop artist who is crushing it here in Dallas right now. And Moses has figured out the formula to pursue his passion and make a living doing music because it's what he loves. And he's figured out how to stay true to himself rather than being like this artist or that artist. But until then, here we are at the Ross Perot Museum, and I want to play the xylophone before we head out. Dude, what's up?
Good
to see you, dude.
It's good to see you, man.
Dude, we are here at C Factory Productions down in Dallas, Texas, hanging out with my boy Moses Uvier. Moses is a hip-hop artist. You never heard of him? Go check it out, mosesuvier.com. Now, dude, you got like lots of stuff going on, dude. I mean, you got an album coming up. It's like your first album in 2, 3, 4 years. Never been better?
Yeah, never been better.
Like, really? Is it never been better?
That's how the album feels, you know what I mean? That's how the album feels. Yeah, I released, my last album I released was in 2011 called Mind the Gap. And yeah, this is, you know, it's 2013, about to release my next record. So yeah, it's been about 2 years. So this is my third album. So my first album I released in 2008, entitled From Worse to Better. So yeah.
So we're going from worse to better to never been better.
Exactly, that's the progression. Yeah, it's just like there's like a massive story that I told on my first album. Just kind of like introduced myself to the whole world. Like I just said, yo, I'm here. I just talked about all these things. And so from 2008 till 2013, I've lived like so much life. I've been able to travel the world. Like I've met beautiful people, awesome different situations I've been in. So now it's like, all right, I need to take the story that I started out in 2008 and kind of try to piece together everything I've experienced, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. That's awesome. So, dude, how'd you go from this place of like traveling the world, you know, putting out records, getting paid to do music, but you didn't start out that way. So what steps did you have to take to freaking crush it as a hip-hop artist?
Yeah, I guess the number one thing was I believed in myself and just said, you know what, like, this is something I love to do, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm just going to go hard. So I think that was the number one thing is I said, you know what, I believe that I have the ability to do this. Yeah. And I didn't let nobody control or manipulate what I was feeling on the inside. So I went with that first initial gut feeling. But it's difficult because everybody I know is a rapper. Everybody knows an artist. Right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in my family does music. Right. Like, so it's hard to say, all right, this feeling that I feel in my chest, it's important that I need to listen to it because of the fact that, like, it's almost oversaturated. Yeah. So, but I just ran with it. I said, you know what, like, I am not being, like, convicted and pushed to do this art for no reason. Like, there's some way that people can benefit from this. So that's how I looked at it, was like, okay, I could be able to help people with this art. So I'm going to go forward and see what happens and see how can I help people, how can I influence people to be better people. And I really started seeing results in that. And I really believe because of that intent behind, like, me writing these records and pushing is why, like, doors have been opened. Because at the end of the day, I just want to make good records that people can, you know, live life to. And then, more importantly, like, grow to be better people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, dude, I know, like, from personal experience from touring and so forth, like, I gave up a lot to get to that level. So here you are playing in, like, Africa, doing different records, touring out the United States. What have you having to, like, give up to actually live your dream or what you're experiencing right now?
Yeah, the biggest thing is I've had to give up family time. Like, I don't get to hang out with my family. I don't get to hang out with my friends or my loved ones as much as I'd like to. And it's difficult because you hurt relationships. And I've lost a lot of relationships because of the fact I said, you know what, this is bigger than myself. I have to pursue this. Because at the end of the day, like, I really see people's lives being changed through the music. And there's nothing in this, and this is my opinion, like, there's nothing in this world that's more important to me than seeing an effective change in somebody's life. So that's why, so for a result of that, you lose a lot of relationships. It's hard to cultivate relationships with other people because it's not a conventional lifestyle. It's not a 9-to-5 lifestyle. It's more like a 5 to 9. You know what I mean? Like, you're always working.
5 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Exactly. Like, you're always working, like, all the time at night. So, but that's part of it. And that was probably the biggest thing, was just the family stuff.
Yeah. Dude, I've been, like, obsessed with watching documentaries lately. From everything from, like, Katy Perry to Taylor Swift, like, this documentary after documentary. Yeah. And, like, the common thread I'm seeing is, like, these people commit to being their best self. Yeah. And, like, here in our Western culture, we get caught up in saying, well, I want to be like this, or I'm going to be like this. Mm-hmm. And we kind of lose ourselves trying to project while reaching this or modeling this. Mm-hmm. So how do you, like, maintain and listen to your own divine calling just to be, like, the best Moses you hear?
I think the way I maintain it is, man, that's an incredible question. The way I maintain it is putting myself in situations where people are encouraging me to be myself. Yeah. So hanging around my family. My family's not gonna let me try to be something I'm not. Yeah. Hanging around great artists like I meet here at C Factory that make great music and they're just being themselves. Right. So that's gonna encourage me and make me feel comfortable to, like, be myself. So keeping great company that works like that really helps me be like, you know what, I'm gonna just be myself and I'm just gonna continue to be myself. Yeah, that makes sense. So but at times it is difficult. Like, it's very difficult, you know, because if you want to try to sign a major deal or a major album deal, a label's going to tell you, all right, we need you to make a song that sounds just like Jay-Z. Right. We need you to make a song that sounds just like Alicia Keys. Right. And so that hampers and clamps that artistic integrity. And it's a catch-22 because you want to get the major deal and you want to have them push you into stardom and all this and invest all this money. Right. But then what you give up on that end is your integrity in the art. And so the question that a lot of people need to answer before they even step into this is, are you willing to give up, like, your stories and your piece of your life, and just to be famous, or just to be well known? Right. So that's why when a lot of these artists say, man, I sold my soul for a record deal, is what they're meaning is I am not me anymore.
Right.
Like the person that I was when I came out of my mama's womb, I am not that person because I have to be so-and-so because so-and-so makes these records and so-and-so is in the club popping bottles and so-and-so is reading his Bible 24/7. He's just well-renowned theologian.
Right.
Because they're signed to a major deal and they tell you that this is what so-and-so needs to look like. And so at the end of the day, it's important just to keep good company that inspires you to continue to be yourself.
Yeah. And how does your spirituality played into like this whole game for you?
Man, it's you have you have to believe. Like there is no artist that has made it that didn't have some type of spiritual force pushing them to the next level.
Yeah.
There's no and that's on the good side and on the bad side. Let's just keep it 1,000.
Right.
Like there's none of these people are making this money without some type of spiritual force behind it.
Right.
Now, if you're really trying to make it, yes, you need to tap into his spirituality.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to seek God. Yes, you need to ask the Lord to invade your life and push you to the next level. Now, whatever Lord you decide to choose, he's gonna come in.
Right.
And he's gonna help you get to the next level. But for me, like I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. So I believe in the Christian faith. And so I believe that the driving force behind why I'm even in front of people is because of him invading my heart and taking over the art. Because there's times where I'm performing and rapping these records, and I don't make preachy records.
Yeah.
But I'll be in front of these people rapping these records, and you're seeing people moved by rap songs, or I'm just sharing my story, how I came from a struggle. You see people moved by that, and I'm sitting there watching that, not even quite comprehending what's going on. But it's a beautiful place to be in because I don't need to know what's going on. Like at the end of the day, that spiritual force that I allow to invade my heart is the one that's pushing something, that's projecting something in their life, and that's what makes this like so much more fulfilling. That's why when I'm doing it, I go for broke. That's why when I talk about it, I'm super passionate about it because I really see an effective result in people's lives and see people change. So.
Well, and I think the main thing is because you live it. Like, like when I go to worship at Alien United Methodist Church, like the ending message every single Sunday is very simple. It's like, go out and preach the gospel, use words if necessary, but be the love you are. Yeah. And you like show up with love everywhere you go. And just about a few little minutes that we have left here in this interview, this has been awesome. I'm like loving it. What advice would you give to our listeners here talking about like if they want to go out and live their passion and make money doing what they love, what advice would you give them?
I think the biggest thing, there's three major things for any artist watching. One is make sure you tap in to the Christian faith and make sure you tap into a spiritual force. Make sure you believe like that God has given you the ability to go forward in the craft. That's one. Two, put some integrity behind your craft. Like make sure you're putting out the best music you possibly can do within your realm of reach. Like the best. So for rappers, a lot of rappers will just write one verse and be like, oh, I'm Gucci. No. I need you to rewrite your verse 3-4 times. You hear me? When you hear my album, every single song went through a 5-step process. Like I rewrote songs time and time again. So make sure you're rewriting your songs. That's two. Number three is I need you to spend some bread. I need you to spend some money. If you ain't spending no money on your songs and on your art, it's not gonna pop out for you. I don't care how cold you are. I don't care how talented you are. At the end of the day, you're gonna always hit this ceiling. You're gonna always hit this ceiling until you say, you know what? I'm gonna have to spend $1,000 on a music video because at the end of the day, I want to put out quality art with my sense of integrity into the craft. Like you have to be able to spend bread to take it to the next level. So a lot of artists feel like they can just do whatever and they can just put out whatever and it's going to work because they have a good cadence or they have a good sound. Nowadays, that's not the situation. You can't do it because now, at least as far as my genre, everybody's a rapper. Everybody's a rapper. My cousins are rappers. My auntie's a rapper. You hear me? Everybody a rapper. You hear me? So it's like what's going to set you apart is hard work and spending your bread.
So guys, there you hear it. If you want to live your passion, you're going to have to invest in yourself. You're going to have confidence in yourself. And you're going to have clarity to go to that next level. So dude, it's been great hanging with you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the advice.
Absolutely.
And guys, go out, freaking crush it. Spend some money on your dreams. We're out here in C Factory Productions. the question becomes this. You either are living your passion every single day and making money doing this, or you're living somebody else's dream. You're living somebody else's, like your mother's or your father's or your pastor's or your peers' dreams for you. My question to you is, are you standing in your own truth, doing what you want to do, or are you buying into someone else's dream? Only you know the answer to this. Many times, most of us are looking for external approval, and that's what we've been talking about with Emily and with Moses and how they've learned to seek their best selves. Now, I want to walk you through a simple framework to help you be your best self today, because I want you to get the gears turning for you. Number one, I want you to take some time to self-assess. Many times here in our Western culture and our world at large, we're going and going and going and going, and we never take the time to just breathe and think, who am I and why am I here? So number one, I need you to identify your passion. What is it that excites you when you get up in the morning that you want to do, that you're drawn to? What is it that you want to continually learn about, whether you're watching this on TV or on Netflix, or you're watching YouTube videos about this, or you're Googling this, or you're reading books? What is it that you want to continually learn? Because more oftentimes than not, that's what's going to drive you. And in today's marketplace, you have to be continually pushing and pushing and driving to be better and better. Not because you want to win someone else's approval, but because you want to win your own approval and you want to be your best self. Because I don't want to see you get to the end of your life and think, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. But rather you would say, oh yeah, I lived a good life. After you identify your passion, I challenged you to freaking embrace that passion. So who can you go hang out with? How can you experience that? How can you live that passion? And I promise you, if you will do these two things, identify and embrace, before you know it, you will be living your dreams. And always remember, get clear, gain confidence, and freaking crush it. So if you're wanting help getting clarity and confidence and you want to freaking crush it, head on over to ajamyx.com and I'll see you there.